What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Chaos Theory podcast. I am your co-host, Ivan, aka Kinetic. Man, I'm excited for this episode. You guys have been calling for it, so we're going to get right into it. Go ahead, Ken, take it away.
What's up, guys? We're back. Chaos Theory Season 3, Episode 2. Ooh, I got the chills already. You guys are in for a really, really insightful episode. We're going to talk about EVO 2025, all of our experiences. And, of course, I have a very special guest with us today. The man who taught me everything there is to know, well, most of it, about the game. And a true inspiration, not just inside the game, but outside of the game. Of course, I'm referring to none other than Chris Magnus. How are you, brother?
Hello. Thank you. Doing great. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you boys today.
Nice, dude. It's a pleasure to have you here. For all of our listeners, you guys really don't understand how much of a privilege and a blessing it is to have Chris on the podcast. The guy has... He's been there from the very beginning of the FGC. He's got a lot of insight to give to us, and it's a pleasure to have him here. Chris, can you kind of give our listeners a quick rundown of your history? You know, how you got started and how you ended up here today, back in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you for that introduction. Again, my name is Chris. I go by Magnus, and just a quick funny, I guess, story on that name. My handle's been Magnus since early 2000s, right? When Shoryuken came out, about second month after the website was published, you know, I was on there browsing, decided to create an account and had to punch in a username. Not sure where Magnus came from, other than the fact that I thought it was a cool name at the time, or it sounded cool. Punched it in. Fortunately, it was available. So that's kind of what I stuck with. And since that time, that's what everybody's known me as. But today, you know, I mostly go by SRK-Magnus. So a lot of folks may recognize that name as opposed to just Magnus by itself. But as far as how I started, you know, I think like most people that have got into the fighting game community, they started at their local mom and pop liquor stores, donut shops. You know, for me anyways, you know, I've been playing since the 90s when Street Fighter came out. So just wherever I can play the game, you know, at the time it was your local 7-Eleven that may have it. So, you know, I'd pop in there as a youngster, play some games, really had no idea what I was doing. It really wasn't until I got a little bit older through high school and then, of course, early years in college where I started to get a little bit more involved and know that there's actually a scene, there's actually competition in the game, and there's actually there's some method to the madness that, you know, that Street Fighter is, and that it's not just, you know, jumping on the sticks, pressing buttons, and, you know, having fun. It's you can actually get competitive, get better at it. So so again, for me, I'm from the San Gabriel Valley, you know, here in SoCal. So SGV, yes sir. So a lot of my time was spent at the local arcades to me, and that would be the local golf land there in South Almani. Spent a lot of time in Montebello Mall. It was originally Tilt, and then Arcade World, where I met Ken. West Covina Mall. When I got into college, I found out that the arcade scene expanded outside of, you know, your local malls and local mom and pop spots. You actually had arcades that were dedicated towards fighting games in the competition. So Super Arcade, Cal Poly Pomona, the game room, eventually the James Games. And then from there, you know, once I started to meet people and better players that actually traveled, you know, you'd hear about the other spots, Southern Hills Golfland, eventually Camelot, Regency, and things like that. So just, again, in the nutshell, I've kind of been around a long time. Did get out of the scene a little bit in 2007, jumped back into it in 2020, you know, from a competitive or from a playing standpoint, although I kind of always kept up with, you know, what was going on, you know, throughout that time, just to see who's doing what, and, you know, what's happening with the game and the scene. So again, that's me in a nutshell.
My personal experience, if I go back to when I first met you at the Montebello Mall, that was that was like my whole world. It was that mall. I didn't know about James Games. I didn't know about, I certainly didn't know about Southern Hills Golfland, but Montebello Mall was my home. It was my arcade. And I remember when I first encountered you, it was so bad. The skill difference between us was so bad. I remember you were able to beat me with Team Shoto. Team Shoto versus my MSP. Like, that's how bad. That's how big the skill difference. The skill gap was. Yeah. And whenever I would meet somebody who I knew was better than me, I would hone in on that person and kind of like think, okay, how long is it going to take for me to catch up to this person? And every single time that we would play, Chris, I felt like when I felt the skill gap kind of closing in, you would always pull ahead because you would bring out, you were so diverse in your skill set that you would always show me something different. And this game is a true rabbit hole. Like, just when you think you have it figured out, something happens to make you question it altogether. Like, you know what, there's still more that you got to learn here. But I put you at the top of the pecking order when it came to the top players. And because, 2005, 2006, this is before the YouTube era. So there's no like, let me look this guy up. Let me see who else he's played. Let me do my homework here. There's nothing like that. Even to this day, there's really not a lot of footage on you, or at least not a lot of like vintage footage. Back then, I think there was only like maybe one video, and that was you versus Ruin. I don't know if you remember that video.
I do, yes.
From Cal Poly.
Yep.
And that video is like a highlight reel. I think you picked the Fat Toy versus Ruin's Thrax.
Correct.
And you showcased a lot of highlights in that video. I don't know if you remember it.
I do. Actually, I do remember the video. In fact, I do remember that match. I vividly remember it, but you're right, Ken. There's not a whole lot of classic footage or old school footage of me playing. And, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but a lot of that just kind of goes back to, although I would say pretty active with going to different arcades and, different scenes, things like that to play the game. I wasn't very active in like the tournament scene, for example. So you didn't really see me playing in local tournaments, major tournaments. This past Evo was only the third Evo I've ever attended to actually play in a tournament. 2023 and 2006 were the other two prior to that.
My man is a true hidden beast.
Dude, that's still, it blows my mind. We were actually talking about it earlier at the brewery. And I will forever die on that hill that if Magnus would have kept playing, if he would have kept grinding, he would have been one of the best. Better than me, for sure. He's got the IQ. He's got the skill set. Like, it's one of those hidden, untapped potential theories,
So right away, man, right off the bat in the very limited engagements that I've had with Chris, guys, like, I have a sense that his IQ is it's up there. Like, I don't know why. I just get this feeling from him when I interact with him. I can sense something, right? And that's something that I don't really see in like all, players, but the ones that you do notice, it's like, oh, okay, this is a different echelon of
it's like Dragon Ball Z where it's like, wait a minute. I can feel his power.
Or for my Bleach fans, it's like, what is this Ryatsu? That's how they say. But anyway.
Dude, that's part of the mystique, Chris, is that you were like this, almost like this mythical beast that would just appear, kick some ass, kick everybody's ass, and then you would just, all right, I'm out of here. And then I wouldn't see you for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever the case is. And then you would always show up and then showcase something different. I'd be like, what? This guy knows how to play Spiral?
Yeah.
Like, what the? So you never knew what you were going to get from Chris. Diverse skill set, high level, high IQ, and just an amazing guy, amazing human being. I've always said
Absolutely.
it, bro. You've always been an inspiration to us. On a personal level, inside the game, outside of the game, it's a pleasure to have you here, bro. And the fact that you were there this year, and we'll kind of get into that, made a huge impact on me and my experience. So once again, bro, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story with us and with the viewers, so they can kind of get to know the man behind the man behind the myth.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I do like asking something, usually to a lot of the high level players, like what is it about Marvel 2 that kind of captured your attention, since you have been playing ST and I'm assuming other fighting games? So what was it about? Why Marvel 2?
Yeah. So, obviously at the time, it was just the new Versus series game that came out. So, I played all the prior Versus series games,
Okay.
before that. And when it was the 2-on-2, it's pretty cool, something different.
So like X-Men versus Street Fighter.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter,
And
yep. And then the
onwards.
other is Marvel 1. But when, I knew or heard that there was going to be this, 3-on-3 Versus series game coming out, it was kind of like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like this is going to be a nuts game. Like how is it even going to be playable? Like it's going to be, just madness, right? And then when you found out that it's only going to be a 4-button game with, attack buttons, that is, with 2 buttons dedicated to assist now, it's like, well, how is this really going to be playing out?
Yeah.
But for me, what kind of drew me to it was not just all of that, but it was just more so just the chaos of the game, that when early on anyways, you're just all these different combinations, not just player character combinations, but just the combos, and it later on became the depth of like the strategy and how deep you can actually get into the game, and that there's actually some strategy behind it. It's not just about mashing buttons and having a certain character selection that their combos or supers linking to each other. It's actually a lot more deeper than that.
The human element.
Exactly. And so that's kind of what attracted me to the game itself. But to keep playing it, it later became the competition, and knowing that it's deeper. It's deeper than just a 3-on-3 game. It's getting to know how much about the game's engine, how much about the game I can learn and apply myself. And then of course everything else that came along with that, all the relationships and friendships that I built through that game.
Yeah, of
over
course.
time.
And for the viewers, like what team or teams did you actually gravitate towards?
Yeah, so early on, and I think like most people who started playing the game, and if you played the Versus series beforehand, it was Wolverine, maybe Strider, and some other third character that you may have liked. And once you realize that those characters are horrible in this game, right, they were quickly dropped.
The fan favorites, but yeah.
Exactly. But for me, my team, basically from day one had always been Team Combo Fiend.
Man.
I've always been a Magneto, Iron Man player. I would also do Fat Toy, quite often. Interestingly, though, today I rarely touch those teams. I don't feel I have the execution, for at least having a high level Magneto.
Yeah.
I gravitate now more towards Scrub. But Combo Fiend and Fat Toy were the 2 teams that I switched between very early on.
So it was more of like a defensive style Combo Fiend, would you say, back in the day?
Oh, not at all. No.
He was more
Magnus has
dynamic?
always been aggressive, just a mauler.
Mauler, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I would describe my gameplay at the time as well. It was very rushdown based, as Ken mentioned. Obviously, trying to show, and I think this is for a lot of folks that play the game that were young, right? You meet new people, you run into new players that you don't see all the time, but you also want to show them that you're good, and doing flashy combos, flashy routes. Different setups that maybe they haven't seen before, so you want to showcase all of that.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I like those teams too, because I feel like the chemistry between them, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can be just technical and just straightforward, and walk them to the corner with Magneto and DHC and call it a day. Or if you want to be flashy and do all these various combos with Iron Man assist and switch out and switch back in, things like that, you can do it as well.
Yeah.
So
There's 2 things that I wanted to kind of add to what you were saying. I remember you using Combo Fiend and also MSS Rocket Punch. Combo Fiend was with Rocket Punch assist as well. My style of being aggressive and overly offensive was modeled after yours. I don't know if you can kind of pick that up.
yes.
That's the first thing. The second thing is that IFC Yipes made a comment during one of the matches. I think it was my match with Neo. and he said that Thrax is Thrax, as an example, is a team that you can pick up immediately, even if you haven't touched Marvel 2 for a very long time, because it doesn't really require a lot of, I guess, execution as Magneto would. Right. So your perspective on, playing like Team Scrub or something like that is because you can just kind of pick it up and be defensive and kind of pick your spots, as opposed to Magneto where you have to create those opportunities yourself.
Correct.
Absolutely. And just, for me as a player in general, I'm very impatient. So with Magneto, I'm running all over the place and I'm going to get smacked. And there goes my character. With Scrub, you can do that if you want. You can be aggressive, with an aggressive Sentinel. But for the most part, you can be defensive and you can wait for them to make the first mistake. And obviously, if you have 5 levels, you're with Cable, the whole team's gone. So again, that's why I gravitate more so to that team. But you are right though. You got to figure out a play style that works for you and select your characters, based on that. But for me, especially as I get older, my reactions are not as good as or sharp as they were when I was a lot younger. So I'm quite often missing, dashes and running into stuff and things like that. So I try to stay away from Magneto if I can.
That just breaks my heart.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Because he's speaking about something that like I'm going to face as well. I'm not too far off from you guys, so it's like it's gonna happen to me as well.
Do you feel, Chris? Do you feel like there's any way for you to get your hands back if you just? It's tough. Like, it's tough to find time as it is to even play the game, let alone jump into training mode. Do you feel like if you applied yourself, you'd be able to get your hands back, or do you feel like, oh, you know what, I'm already past that point?
Yeah. So, bottom line, I think if I did devote the time, I'm pretty sure I could. I don't have a doubt that I could, kind of get my hands back and get back into the shape that I was back then, or at least a somewhat, competitive, form. But, do I see myself doing it now? Not really. I feel like that ship's passed, at least for me anyways. Do I get the itch like when I see you up there in top 8 and I see you guys playing and, I go to Evo and I felt anyways I did pretty good. Do I get that itch to want to kind of devote the time and do it? Yes. But again, it gets a little harder as you get older. Life, and things like that. I'm not going to say get in the way because obviously that's priorities for me anyways, but it's, it just makes it a little bit difficult for me, to do so.
Agreed.
But
yeah.
Agreed. Guys, we got to jump into, what just transpired a couple of weeks ago, and that's Evo 2025. Now, we were all there. Ivan, you got there, I think, Saturday?
I got there on Saturday, yeah.
Chris, you were there.
Yep.
It was a breath of fresh air to see you there, amongst the sea of players. Most of them I didn't know. Some of them I did. But to see a face like yours there was like, it was like a calming presence to have you there. Let's go over the Evo 2025 basics here. Okay. Now the venue was located at the Las Vegas Convention Center, not too far away from everybody, kind of like right in the middle of everything. Can we talk about the entry fee? How do you guys feel about the entry fee for Evo?
I thought the entry fee was egregious. Like, I think it's just gotten way too expensive for what it is. But I will say this though, in the last couple years that I haven't gone to Evo, this has probably been one of the better organized venues. I thought it was very well organized. I thought they had a great food court for the players. The vibe was great. They had multiple setups, many setups for every single game, plus like a seating area for like some of the top 24 for each one of the games. Vendor shops. I mean, it had really everything, and I thought it was really well done. Will I come back next year? Absolutely. That's the impression that I got.
I do agree. I don't feel that it was as congested as it has been the past few years. The layout was great. Plenty of space for you to kind of walk around, move around. As long as you knew where you were going, it was relatively easy to kind of find everything, battle stations and all that. Yep. Chris, what did you think?
Yeah. So basically everything that Ivan just said, I agree with, 100%, as I mentioned already, this is my third Evo. So the last time I was there was in 2023, which I thought was, a little pricey, but, I already knew what I was getting myself into. And so when I signed up this year, again, found it to be pretty expensive, and I found a promo code that was out there. And even with that, it was still, pretty expensive. So I agree. I think it is getting up there, for what it is. In my opinion, anyways, I know for someone like me, I can do it, and I don't feel the burn, in my pocketbook. So I'm fortunate in that sense. But I know there's a lot of people that maybe did feel the burn or the pinch, right?
Yeah, agreed.
And there might have been a lot of players too that maybe wanted to go but couldn't because of how expensive it is. But you got to think about it. At the end of the day, it's not just the high venue fee to just get in. Just to step in, you're paying $200, at least. Adding on all the different fees and tournaments and whatever else, you're going to be signing up for. But for most people, you're traveling there. So you got to think your travel costs, whether you're driving, flying,
right.
Your hotel costs.
Everything adds up quickly. Like you said, hotel costs,
transportation.
I was dropping maybe $20 a trip just for Lyft alone. Food wasn't cheap. That food court was charging like maybe $16 a sandwich.
Yep.
It was.
It's ridiculous. But that's the price you pay for the experience.
Exactly.
And the convenience.
Yep. And that's why I think, again, although it was expensive, and I know I've seen a lot of comments out there too with the pricing of Evo this year that it was expensive for what it is. I hope that, next year, if it is going to be equally as priced or hopefully cheaper, but I hope that they keep improving on the experience so that at least the players and the attendees see that there's actually value now being provided, and what they're getting back for the cost to get in. So
I am so grateful that they did not put Marvel 2 top 8 on Sunday. I'm actually really grateful they did it on Saturday, because on Sunday you would need, in order for you to watch like top 8, you need to get into the arena. It's a special section. Typically for Sunday, though, for all the games that are on Sunday, you have to have a wristband for it, right?
Yeah.
And those sold out. So if you didn't have one, you're just not getting in. But thankful that, again, Marvel 2 was able to be on Saturday, and we were just able to get in. No issue. I hope they continue that next year.
I think it was perfect because we wrapped everything up on Saturday.
Yes.
And that gave us Sunday completely to just take our time, come back to the venue, shop around, do whatever you want to do without the pressure of, I have top 8 later, or I have to stay for the event later.
Yeah.
So that was great. I mean, and we'll kind of get into that. As far as the schedule goes, guys, we had 32 pools day one, and they all started as early as 10 a.m. So we were on a tight schedule. We had multiple stations with multiple bracket TOs, I guess you could say, that were running the show. It was quite an experience just to take a second and look at Marvel 2 being ran under the Sony umbrella, as opposed to what we're used to, which is just the BYOC, us doing it, a community-driven event. And the wheels were turning so fast. These guys were calling out names. There was no time for casuals or anything like that. It was just, hey, I need you, stand by. Hey, you come over here. You're up in 2 minutes, whatever the case is. We were knocking everything out as efficiently as possible. I would say that's a pro. I don't know if you guys agree.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was definitely a pro for the event. One of the things that I often see out there, or that I hear is, and I don't know if it's strictly a Marvel community issue, but when there's tournaments, oftentimes they don't start on time. For whatever reason.
Notorious for being late.
Yep, and
right.
I know oftentimes it's out of the TO's hands, but I know that's kind of a common complaint. I know going into Evo, that was kind of one of the things as people were talking about, like, well, how are they going to manage a 500 plus bracket? Entrant bracket tournament when we can't even get, a 75 man bracket, finished, within a certain amount of time. So I agree, Ken. I think everything was run so efficiently. They were on it, and I think to the community's credit too, you really didn't have a whole lot of people sitting at tournament stations doing casuals, hogging up a machine, and, now you have to deal with that, get them off. Well, let me finish these 2 games. It's like, no, the tournaments are being run. TLs were telling people, you go play here, you go play there. We're going to get you lined up for a match on stream. Your second match up, be on standby, ready to go. And I think a lot of the players too wanted to make sure that things ran efficient, so everyone was available. If you knew you were playing, you were on standby. You didn't wander off. They didn't have to at least
look for you.
Go look for you. Yeah, and I heard a few times where they did kind of do, hey, last call for so and so, whoever it was. I didn't hear it a whole lot, but I think for the most part, everyone was kind of all in to make sure it ran very smooth.
I think the fact that we paid that hefty venue fee kind of factored into it. Nobody wanted to see their money go to waste.
Exactly.
They're
think more invested.
I think the only notable no-shows that we had, Baby Wolverine was supposed to appear, and he didn't for whatever reason. And then also Go for Broke. So everybody showed up on time. Well, like you said, we didn't hear a lot of like last call for DQ or whatever the case is. So that was a plus. Everything was ran like clockwork, no pun intended. Every station had its settings already configured, both in monitor and in the PS5 settings, like as far as like turning off the one button supers and all that. I think the button configuration was what was killing us the past few tournaments, because we were still kind of like trying to figure it out and everything. And come Evo, everything, I think everybody knows what to do now.
Yeah.
So that eliminated a lot of time being eaten up because of that.
Yep.
So that was really good. Chris, I wanted to ask you about the monitors. Okay, they were using the Sony InZone M3s. What did you think of those?
So I have mixed feelings on these. When I got to the venue, for the first day of the tournament on Friday, my matches were good. But when I got to the venue, played a few matches casual beforehand, and I felt things were good. It was responsive. I didn't feel like there was much, if any at all, of an issue, at least to me. Mind you, this was the first time I'd ever played on PlayStation 5. I'm primarily on Steam, so I just wasn't sure what to expect. Am I going to have issues adapting to the console? Is the monitor, the setup, whatever it was. However, throughout my course of the weekend, as I played various games, both tournament and casual, I did notice a bit of a difference. And I don't know, I can't pinpoint exactly what the issue was. I don't know if it was a setting maybe in the monitor settings, because from what I understand, the monitors, there are certain settings they had the monitor set to. I don't know if it was like game mode or whatever it might have been, but I understand that the monitors were set to certain settings. There were cases in casual, for example, where monitors were turned off. So when they got turned on, that's when I noticed a bit of a difference. And so I don't know if it was an issue in my experience where settings didn't save or translate over.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, are you inferring that they
went back to default
settings?
That's what I'm thinking. It could have been maybe a placebo where I was just thinking something was off and it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Because I'm not too familiar with the Sony with the InZone M3.
Right.
But that was just based on my experience in terms of what I felt. It's like most of the weekend it felt good, but there were times where I felt things were off. And I can see how that obviously would have impacted somebody during a tournament match who was playing that, felt that was off because, something changed on the monitor. Although I think the TLs did a good job with making sure all monitors were on and everything was set appropriately. I think it's a little bit hard to control who has access to what, and if somebody went and changed the setting, adjusted something without a TO or anyone else knowing. I'm not saying intentionally or anything like that. Just kind of hey, let me go tinker with it, and now you have a monitor that's now being used in a different setting, obviously impacting other people's experiences.
Absolutely.
So,
I would consider my execution to be pretty good. So when I play on a monitor that has some kind of input delay or that causes input delay, I can feel it. And on all of these monitors, I had several opportunities to land, like let's say the Cyclops Infinite, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it just because there was a small, margin for error.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I have, I guess, learned a little bit in researching a bit of the InZone, monitor itself, since Evo, if it's not set correctly with the settings, that it's not the best monitor to be using. And a lot of people might make or might say that, well, I mean, the difference in input lag might be negligible, like it's not much. But when you're playing a high level game like Marvel, which is not fast reactions, you're talking one frame, discrepancies could be the difference between missing a link in an infinite, or being punished on a counter call or something. But I think it's enough to where there could be enough of input lag. When you add in everything, you factor in not just the monitor itself, but obviously the Brook board. You guys talked about it, on here in the past. You maintain your equipment, making sure you have the best that you can use. So when you take all of that together, you are going to have potential issues. And again, that's just kind of what I've learned, is that the monitor isn't the best, to be using. I can't speak for other games. A high level game, fast paced like Marvel, you might feel it more when there's one frame links, in play here, as opposed to like a Street Fighter 6 or something else. I don't know if those hurt more from this type of monitor or not. But I do feel, at least for us in our community, it's not the best monitor, to be using.
Of course, the follow-up question would be, we can agree that it's not the best, but is it the most cost-effective?
Yeah,
possibly.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it is
for them to be using Evo, especially given the magnitude of players that we have on site for the game.
Yeah,
it's by Sony too.
Absolutely. It's the most cost effective. It's what they're using across the whole venue. So I mean, you see everything there, and there's no issues with providing that monitor.
The other issue that came up were the headphones.
Yep.
Now the monitors themselves weren't exhibiting any audio. Obviously, you had to throw on. They provided a headset, or they did give you the option to use your own, as long as it was wired. A lot of players were reporting that the headsets themselves weren't working completely. Some audio was given out on one side, or it was low altogether. They didn't really know how to adjust it on the fly. It's just one of those things.
Yes, and I don't recall the brand of the headphone that was used, but I personally experienced exactly the issues you're talking about, and it wasn't a Marvel. It was actually in CVS2. During a tournament match, I had the headphones on. And I was waiting for the audio to say fight at the start of the match. I didn't hear it, although the visuals, I'm seeing I'm playing, so I see the visuals right in front of me, so I know the match is starting. But because I hear like the background music playing, but I don't hear like the actual like fight or like the certain audibles. It impacted me, and in certain moves, I couldn't hear the characters. I couldn't hear certain things, sound effects, for example. So at some point during my match on that game, I ended up just like mid-match, just took the headphones off and just threw them back on the table. I literally took my hands off the stick, took the headphones off. So I personally experienced that. And I don't know if it was an issue with the headphones or if it was an issue with maybe the in-game settings where like the sound effects were set lower volume than the system audio. I don't know. It was something, but I definitely had those issues.
So it's an unfortunate part that you have your own factors to worry about, like your equipment, your execution, whatever it is. But then you have to take into account all of these extra factors, the monitors and the headphones. For the price that we're paying, I don't think that it should be something for us to really have to worry about. It should be good to go.
Yeah, and it should be. And you're right. You're paying this hefty price to get in to participate in this tournament. And if it's something that's in your control, like your stick's not up to date, your PCB is not the best one you can be using for that console or that that environment, that's on you, right? But when you're in a tournament match and you're using provided equipment, that shouldn't happen. Everything should be working. I don't know if it's an issue of, I couldn't tell you how like that, is that problem solved. I don't know if it, TOs have to test every, piece of equipment, after, I'm not going to say every match, but maybe after every pool's played or whatever it might be. But yeah, there does need to be better, I guess, control over the quality of the equipment. And I didn't know about the option of bringing your own headsets, just for me personally, I don't own like an audio headset for gaming or anything like that, but me personally, I wouldn't think about bringing it, only because now that's another piece of equipment for me to be bringing. You know, I'm already lugging around a stick.
Exactly.
Right? So now you got your audio, now you get your headset, you know, and I don't want to be that guy that's, you know, taking 5-10 minutes to get all set up at the station while my opponent's, you know, ready to go, because you're already doing button checks and all that stuff. Now I got to plug in my headset, adjust the audio and all that stuff. I kind of, you know, you kind of just want to grab and go. So you would hope that the equipment is
ready to go, plug and play,
ready to go. So,
well, it doesn't take away from the positive experiences that we had. You know, Evo gave us the platform to showcase the game. We had tens of thousands of people that were tuning into Twitch, their eyes on the product. So this doesn't take away from that, but I do feel like it needed to be addressed, because there's always room for improvement.
Yep.
Both at the main stage level, like at a tournament like Evo, and then us at the local grassroots BYOC level. As far as the format, guys, it was a 2 out of 3 format up until the finals, losers, winners, and grand finals. That's a long road of just 2 out of 3, and we've been over this, bro. 2 out of 3 is lethal.
Yeah.
Because you can have 2 bad games just like that. And in a game like Marvel that's incredibly fast-paced, those matches end in minutes.
Yep.
When I played Peru Champ on the main stage, they uploaded the video to YouTube. It's like under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, obviously to us here, we know, you know, how fast that 5 minutes goes, right? And that's it. It's just, as you mentioned, the game's so fast-paced, anything can happen. 2 out of 3, it's crazy that's the format. You know, me personally, I prefer the 5 out of 3. I feel like the 2 out of 3 did benefit me in one match during my gameplay that weekend.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it should probably be a 5 out of 3, you know, type of setting, especially for a game like Marvel, when you just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, in terms of not knowing what's going to happen, guys, we had 573 entrants, 32 pools in day 1 alone. We had 4 pools for top 24, which was day 2, and then that same day we ran top 8 afterwards. So a lot of people who entered. The unpredictable factor was at an all-time high. You didn't know who you were going to play. There were a lot of names in there who were actually decent players that knew what they were doing. We had people fly in from all over the world. We had somebody from Chile, Brazil. We had a couple of guys that flew in from New Zealand. Yeah. Japan's best player, yep. Kamitana, came in. Yep. Dude, it was a ridiculous pool of players. There are a lot of people who are kind of trying to downplay the bracket, saying that, you know, Sanford didn't enter, Yipes didn't enter, Justin Wong didn't enter. While that is true, you still can't take away from everybody else who were killers in that pool. There were a lot of killers in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just, you know, looking at the various pools and the brackets, you know, you're right. There were at least one killer, if not multiple. And if you happen to be in a bracket where you had 2 or 3 other killers in your bracket, which happened, you know, during Evo, even in the early pools, yeah, there's nothing that you can't take away from that. There was a lot of good folks there playing, good skill level, very high, very active players. And then you also had, as we mentioned earlier, you know, some of the old school guys that were there, which, you know, although you may argue and say, well, they're not active. Well, that doesn't matter. They're still bring skill to this game that proved to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Know?
And then in 2 out of 3, like you said,
yep.
You don't know what's going to happen. As far as the results, guys, let's go over the top 8. Of course, yours truly won first place. Second place went to Andy MSP, a.k.a. Viga.
For those who don't know.
Yeah. He ended up losing to Servbot and being put in losers. And then he came all the way back to grand finals, and then he lost to me. Servbot got third place. He lost to me in winners, and then he lost to Andy MSP in losers. Combo Fiend got fourth place. That was very surprising, bro.
So crazy, man.
He lost to Andy MSP twice. That's insane. Peru Champ and Clockwork tied for fifth. Peru Champ lost to me in winners, and then he lost to Andy MSP in losers. Clockwork lost to Servbot in winners, and then he lost to Combo Fiend. That was When he was playing Combo Fiend, they were calling it Unk Marvel.
Yep. Yep.
That's insane, dude.
He's starting Scent the whole time too.
He had Telly and G-Con who tied for seventh. Telly lost to Clockwork, and then he lost to Andy MSP. G-Con lost to me in winners, and then he lost to Combo Fiend in losers. This top 8 was very diverse. You had a bunch of, I guess you could say like the
OGs.
second gen players like me, Servbot, Andy MSP. You had some international players in Peru Champ, and then also you had the OG players, Clockwork and Combo Fiend, who made a top 8. So it was a very diverse top 8. There were a couple of names that we were expecting to see that unfortunately didn't make it, which we'll get to in just a second. If you go a little bit further out of top 8, you'll see that the people that tied for 9th was Gino from Peru. That guy, he put in some work.
He did, and I saw. I was fortunate to see some of his matches, but not just tournament, but also during casuals and whatnot. And I was really impressed. He put in some work. Very technical player, and so I've not seen him play before. So I was very impressed with what I saw.
High IQ, great execution. He definitely had some tricks. Duck Vader tied for 9th, Lazy Reaper, as well as Blockable Laser. Wes was very close to making top 8, but he couldn't get past. I think it was Combo Fiend.
Right?
Yeah. Let's talk about these notable eliminations. Okay. Duck got sent to losers by none other than my boy Chris Magnus. I need to hear about this because I missed it. Somebody told me I left somewhere off the floor, came back, and somebody grabbed me and said, "Hey, your mentor just took out Duck Vader," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, this is a crazy one. So we need to get into this.
I need to hear about this. How did that go down?
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy. So after Friday's polls ended, and we're kind of figuring out who's going to be playing who on Saturday and how the brackets were going to be shaped up. And I happened to come around and see Duck, and I was chatting with him a little bit, and I just asked him on Friday. I said, "Hey, like who are you playing tomorrow?" He goes, "I'm playing you." And I was like, "Oh," like that light bulb already went off in my head, like, God damn, like really. And Duck and I, we've played, quite a few sets online on Steam when he was over on PC. I know he's over on PlayStation right now, beasting there. But when we're on Steam, for the most part, he'd take all the sets, 9-1, 8-2, I'd take those L's pretty bad. So when I found out I was playing him to start the day, on Saturday, I was kind of already like, I got my work cut out for me.
What a tall task, man.
I know. And I think for me, what made it, I wouldn't say worse, but, I had to sleep on that, right? Just kind of thinking, just knowing my past gameplay with him. And so, but the other thing too is it gave me an opportunity to kind of reflect and think about what I needed to do to prepare, how I needed to approach the game. I know you guys have both always spoken about, getting into the lab, right? And practicing what you've learned in the lab, or what you've been putting in work in the lab, put into practice, during gameplay. Obviously for me, wasn't able to get into the lab, but I was mentally able to, and kind of just in my head, go through the different scenarios. What do I need to do? What's my gameplay got to be? So that way when we played, hopefully I had at least a roadmap that I can follow. And that's kind of what I did. So when we played, it was 2-1. I did beat him. I did mention this earlier that the 2 out of 3 format, benefited me in a match, and this is the match that I felt that worked in my favor, in this format. And the reason being, as you guys mentioned, the 2 out of 3, it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. You make one mistake, that can be the end of the road, for you in that set.
Yeah, Chris, can you speak about like what was transpiring in those 3 matches? What were the teams like? What did Duck play and what did you play? And how were you adjusting as the set was happening? Yeah,
absolutely. So, Duck played his classic team, right? Spyro, Cable, Sentinel, and I came in with Scrub. I played Scrub. That's what I played the whole weekend.
Interesting.
During that tournament. Exactly. And I was thinking the same thing. I've not done good with him in the past, using Scrub. I feel like Scrub loses, quite often, if not should be theoretically losing to spiral, all the time. But it was what I was most comfortable with, and so is what I was using. But for me, the mindset that I had was there was one thing I got to do, and that's not allow spiral to get started, right?
Okay.
So do what I can do. Not get hit, by cable anti-air assist. Once you do, then there goes the sword activation.
So annoying, dude.
Yep.
And it brings you all the way to the top of the screen, gives them all this kind of time to set up.
Speaking from experience.
Exactly. And so, my mindset was, okay, don't get hit by assist. Don't let spiral get started. He did, spiral did get started, with the trap, going. I was fortunate to be able to interrupt or find some opportunities where I can get in.
And I'm sorry, you're starting scent?
And I'm starting scent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which kind of in hindsight now, I mean, obviously the cable spiral matchup goes to spiral all the time, but for me, it's like, okay, well, if I lose scent, and spiral's still pretty healthy, like it's over, it's done. Cable comes in. It doesn't matter if I have 5 meters or not.
She just eats them alive.
Yeah, she's gonna eat them alive.
Right.
So I kind of already knew going into it that I can't lose scent early on. I have to be able to do some damage, hopefully kill spiral. So I have somewhat of an opportunity.
Yeah, keep them healthy.
But yeah, so I won that set, and for me it was just I couldn't believe that I did. Not that I was doubting my skill or anything like that. It was just more so at that level. Tournament match, and just knowing in the past how it's always gone in Duck's favor, I couldn't believe that I pulled off the W. But again, I in my opinion, I again put that back to the 2 out of 3 format, because I know Duck as a player, he's a smart player. He adapts, so he picks up on the routines or the repetition that you're putting in.
Or even the counterplay that you're presenting, right? He's going to adjust to that again.
Exactly. And so, so I beat Doug, put him in losers. I did speak to a couple of people afterwards who were like, holy crap, like you beat Duck. And I was like, yeah, I beat Duck. And I was even surprised to even be saying that. At the same time, jokingly, people came up to me and were like, why did you put Duck in losers? He basically just, started to eat, those players afterwards, in losers. And so they're like, why did you do that? Like, and
That's
it's like,
true. Yeah.
But unleash them onto them.
Yeah, he unleashed, but no. But yeah, man. So it was pretty crazy, pretty surreal for me. And yeah.
When I found out that you beat Duck, dude, I was so, I can't even put into words how
Euphoric?
happy that made me, because that was like your Evo moment, your accolade for that tournament. 2 out of 3 versus the long sets. We can go over this all day, but what I think happens when you get used to playing long sets, and this has happened to me from experience. When I play long sets, it's almost like a slow burn where I start to adjust to what the person is doing. I give up maybe 3 games, 4 games, if that. And then after that, it's good. We're good to go. If you can't turn that off when you're in tournament mode, then it becomes detrimental. So maybe with Duck, it was like he couldn't adjust because he's still in that PSN Steam, like you get 10 matches with this person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in 2 matches, anything could happen.
Yeah.
So it is possible for you to win 2-1, and then let's say he wins like the next 7. You know what I mean? Like that's totally possible.
Yeah, and I'm sorry not to interrupt, but that's exactly that's my viewpoint as I see that. And again, I'm not doubting myself as a player. It's just knowing someone that's an even better player, smarter player like himself. Oftentimes players use that first game if it's a best of 5, they use kind of like that first game
to download,
right?
Yeah,
and see,
right.
Hey, what's this person? What's he about? What is he doing? They may not pick their primary team right up front. but they're downloading you, right? And then, as you mentioned, Ken, you might win those first 2, but you're going to lose the next 8 or whatever it is, because you've already been downloaded and they've got the upper hand and they know what they got to do to pull out that W.
But what matters is that in this format, it's not 10 games. It's 2 out of 3. So you get those 2 and then you're done. Next.
Yep.
Like that's the format that we're playing under. So you only have those 2 games, possibly 3, to really turn on the after boosters and get the job done.
Yeah.
574 players, bro. There's no time for you to. You know what? I'll just burn the first match.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was 3 out of 5, right? But 2 out of 3.
Yeah. No, you're not.
You got to be on it from the get go.
Yeah, you're winning. You want to win those first 2 games. You don't want to be in a 1-1 situation at all.
So that was a highlight. Thrilla also got sent to losers by Magneto X, and then he got eliminated by Combo Fiend. 2 OGs of the game who took out one of the hottest, players today. That was also an incredible upset. Math showed up. He just became a father. A lot of emotions.
Congrats,
congrats to him.
Congrats.
A lot of things going on. Did it affect his gameplay? Maybe. But that was one of the upsets that I saw. What about Pasadena getting sent to losers by Kamitani?
I was a little surprised to see that. Not to discredit Kamitani at all. I just Pasadena has had very high placings in many of the most top, big tournaments, over the last couple of years. And obviously it's usually you and him, 1 and 2, right? So I was a little bit surprised to see that. I was personally, I was thinking that I would see a Pasadena in a top 8,
yeah, me too.
this year.
Yeah. So he got sent to losers by Kami. Kami is a player who's done his homework, and you can tell that he has a true passion for the game, and he knows he's done his work, and it showed when he played Pasadena. I think he was using Storm Sense Psylocke,
Yes,
not Thrax, and you don't see a lot of those teams nowadays.
No, you don't. And I know that may, again, I'm not speaking for Pasadena obviously or anything, but when you play, when you're playing someone and you're expecting to see a certain team, come from them, but when you don't see that team, everything
kind of throws you off. A little bit.
It throws you off. Everything you're preparing for, you're preparing for a Thrax team, but now they throw in Psylocke. Well, that's a lot of people may not realize it, but when you're deep in the trenches in this game, changing the assist, from a Commando to a Psylocke changes how you approach that match. So maybe that had something to do with it, but you're right. He did change it up and had a Psylocke.
A matchup that he wasn't really familiar with.
Correct.
And then to add to that, he got eliminated by Chris King, which is another matchup that nobody really knows, or nobody is used to. Chris King will rock Magneto Cable Tron.
Yep.
And that Tron assist just eats you alive if you're not careful.
Oh, it does. And I played Chris King, online, over the past couple of months, and I get eaten up all the time. It's a very unorthodox team. And as you mentioned, if you don't see it, you don't know how to play against it. So. And
then 2 out of 3, man.
That's it.
2 out of 3. That's it. So a lot of names that we were expecting to see in top 8 that we didn't, unfortunately. And that's just the nature of the beast, is you don't know what's going to happen. Everybody has to be on their game. And, the results are just that. It is what it is. My favorite, Neo sending Fnatic to losers. Oh, my God, dude. I was there on the main stage when I saw them playing. Neo gets the win, and immediately, bro, I start clapping. I rush to the stage, and I'm like, yes, sir. And for obvious reasons, that really put a smile on my face, but that's all there is to that. Now, I did want to talk about Andy MSP, because he got second place. Nobody was really expecting to see him in top 8, let alone second place, in grand finals against me. The guy has put in a lot of work, dude. A lot of work since the PSN days to when the collection came out, grinding nonstop.
Yep.
Now, what was news to me was that he's been using one button dash. Okay?
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So I wanted to touch on that real quick, because this is how I feel about one button dash. Okay, I've never been an advocate for it. I've never liked it, but I've never disliked it to the point where I had to really kind of vocalize that. It was just, I don't need it, but I won't hate you if you use it, and do what you got to do. The collection made it more accessible. Whereas Dreamcast, Chris, you remember, if you used one button dash or two kicks for that matter, macros, you had to sacrifice a button, typically an assist, right? With the collection, that's not an issue. You can program one button dash or one button supers, one button special moves, and still keep your remaining buttons. Mm-hmm. So it makes that person, if they know what they're doing, it makes them more dangerous. For context purposes, from what I was told, is that Andy MSP wasn't using one button dash for anything but the ROM. So once he landed the hit, then he would use the one button dash to do the ROM. When he was trying to rush you down, when he was trying to open you up, he would still traditionally, claw or slide or whatever the case is. How I feel about that, I mean, you still have, even though one button dash is enabled, you still have to abide by the game's engine, meaning that it's not going to work if you do it too fast, right? You still have to abide by the game's rules. So I don't think that if you can't really do the ROM consistently now, like in 2025, then that just means you have to work on your execution. It's tough, man.
It's a gray area,
it's
man.
It's tough, dude. I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
I'm a purist, right? So I'm going to think if you're as good as you say you are, you don't need that. And that's just put in the work.
Fair enough.
And if you don't want to, then, well, you'll know where you place there. But like I said, I've always been a true believer if you are as good as you think you are, then none of this should matter. You shouldn't be using macros or one button dash. That's my stance.
Yeah, and for me, you wouldn't find me using it, and for nothing other than I'm old. I don't have the mental stack to, after 25 years of playing this game, to now have to adjust to a one button dash. I do have mixed feelings about it, though. Obviously, for use in high level play, I think. Do I think it's something that maybe should be banned or not used going forward in tournaments and stuff like that? I don't think that we need to go that far, because there's still beyond the one button that only gets you so far. But if you haven't put in the work and you don't have the other execution or technical skill, then obviously you're not going to make it deep in any tournament. So I don't think it should be banned. I think it should be allowed, but it does potentially become dangerous in the hands of someone that's really skilled and good, right? It helps minimize in some cases dropped inputs or just being a little bit more instantaneous, I guess, if you will, with those overheads and things like that. But I think it's a part of the game now. The collection has it. Other games have macros, Street Fighter 6 and things like that that people use, and I'm not too involved with those communities, so I couldn't say if it's accepted or not. But it's kind of the trend for modern games and things like that. So if it's something new, hopefully taking us into the future with this game, I don't see it as an issue.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the general consensus for all of these tournaments is that one button dash is allowed. However, one button specials, one button supers are not. Right?
Correct.
Okay. It's just going to be one of those things where
that doesn't make sense.
You either like it or you don't. Yep. I don't know what it would take for the tournament format to say, what, we're going to do away with this. I don't see anything kind of convincing them, and I know why Capcom, the collection included it in there, is to make it more accessible for people who don't want to deal with these execution barriers, so that they can just grab and go. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things, whether you either like it or you don't.
Yep.
Deal with it. I wanted to talk to you guys about Glasses Gate. Okay, we know what Start Gate is, right?
Yes, we do.
I wanted to talk to you guys about Glasses Gate because obviously I won Evo, but you guys don't know what it cost me, okay?
Or what it could have cost you.
Or what it could have cost me, yeah. So obviously I wear glasses. I wear both regular and prescription sunglasses. All right. A lot of people know that I like to wear my sunglasses indoors because of the lights or whatever the case is. This year, it wasn't really a problem. I wanted to wear my eyeglasses. And the reason why is because I never had an issue looking at, like a TB, a CRT, whatever the case is, with my sunglasses until we started using these new monitors. Now, because my prescription sunglasses are polarized, if I look at a monitor dead on, the screen is black. Or at best, it's dim. Like you have the brightness set to like 1 or 2.
Yep.
Because the prescription and the polarizing effect of the glasses, it's like conflicting. So it filters out the light almost completely. I have to tilt my head to the side to see the screen with my sunglasses. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Saturday morning, which was day 2, Jay Fresh and I left the hotel. We grabbed all of our things, packed up our bags, whatever the case is. I put my eyeglasses into my case, and I put them on the side of my backpack. It's the side sleeve where you can put like a bottle of water or whatever.
Yeah.
So I put it in there. We order our lift. We head to the venue. We stop by the food court to grab something to eat because we have to be there by 11, and it's like 10:30, 10:45. So we eat really quick, and then we head to the venue. And I'm wearing my sunglasses. And Jay Fresh is like, all right, I'm going to go to my station. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to mine. And Peru Champ stops me and he goes, hey, he's like, Khaos, do you want to like warm up? And I'm like, sure. Like I haven't played Peru Champ in I don't know how long, and it would be good to get some warm-ups in. I put my backpack down, take my fight stick out, and then I look to the side so I can grab my glasses. They're gone. And I get this feeling, there was like a jolt of just like instant panic in my body. And I'm like, hold on. I tell Peru Champ, I said, hold on. I look inside my bag. I pull everything out. Nothing. They're not there. I look under the table. Did they slip out when I put my backpack down? Nothing. I tell Peru Champ, I'll be right back. It's like 10:50. I run to the food court to where we were at. Where Jay Fresh and I were sitting, there's a bunch of people there. If my glasses case was there, somebody could have grabbed it, thrown it away, put it in their bag. Like, they're gone. So what's the next step? I pull out my phone, go to the Lyft app, and I submit a request through customer support. And I said, hey, my glasses are gone. Can you check with my last driver to see if they're in there? And they're like, okay, yeah, we will. It's time for my first match against Neo on the main stage.
Gosh. Fuck, man.
So I'm up there on the main, and I told Neo this. I said, dude, I have to tilt my head to the side so that I can see the picture. And even then, it's still not that great. So if you look back at the footage, you'll see that my head's like tilted, like I'm confused or something, like permanently confused or something. Yeah. So I run the first match with Neo. I beat him, and then I asked my TO, I said, hey, what time do you need me back? He says, you're not back till 1 p.m. I'm like, good. I haul ass back to the hotel. So order a Lyft, another fucking $20. Go back to the hotel. I head up to my floor. My glasses are gone. They're not in the room. So now I'm like, dude.
Did you ever get a contact, an answer back from Lyft?
Lyft contacted me back, and the driver said he did not find anything. So I don't know where they are. And I'm thinking, dude, of all the days to lose my glasses, and I don't have any spares, would be day 2 of the biggest tournament for Marvel 2. So my head's everywhere. I'm thinking, okay, whatever. The tournament, yeah. I have to go back to work in a couple of days. Like I can't go to work with my sunglasses. Yeah. And it's not like I can, just be without them for a day or two. I can't see. So all of these thoughts are running through my head, dude. I'm panicking. I haul ass back to the convention center. Another $20. I get there. They say, all right, Khaos, you're up. You're playing against Dave the Magician from Chicago. So I'm like, great. So I sit down. I plug my stick in, and all the Chicago guys are behind me, just like heckling, like, yeah, you got this easy. This is easy, Dave. And I'm sitting there with my head tilted. We play match 1. Dave gets the win. He wins match 1. I'm like, oh my God. This
You running Thrax?
No, he was running Storm Sync Cable.
Oh, Storm Sync.
And I ran Mag, Storm, Cyclops, MS Psych. And because I don't want to deal with Sentinel. I feel like my Cyclops is good enough as an assist. And I lose match 1, dude. These guys are heckling me. And it's nothing bad. It's just, they're rooting for the underdog, right? Mm-hmm. Dave. I wasn't wearing my headset. I was so distracted that I was playing without like any game sound or anything. And I realized, oh, shoot, the headset's right there. So I throw it on. Now I can hear the game audio. I can't hear the people. And then I win the next 2 matches. So I take the headset off. I'm like, good games. And then one of the guys is like, dude, why did you put the headset on? You should have just left it off so he could win.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, but in my head I was like, go fuck yourself, right? So I get more time after that, right? There's a gap in between matches. So I have time to kind of just like think about things. And I'm just stressed, dude. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. The anxiety is like at an all-time high. They call me up for my next match on the main stage against G-Con. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, dude.
It just doesn't get easier.
And no, it doesn't, because G-Con is arguably the best MSP is on the East Coast side. So I went full MSS. Like, I won't pick MSS unless I feel like I have to, because I feel like the team is it's a very overpowered team.
Yeah.
And the way that I play it, it's almost like I don't really get satisfaction from winning with it, because it's so good at the highest level. But I needed it. I needed to beat G-Con. And you can see that I'm dropping things because I can't see, like, I can't see the monitor completely. G-Con's was dropping things too. Could have been the monitor, could have been inputs, whatever. But I end up winning against G-Con, and then now it's time for top 8. So as soon as that was done, they one of the reps was standing by, and he says, hey, follow me. We go to we go all the way across the venue, behind the curtain. They take my picture that they're going to use for the
for the player matchup,
for the player matchup profile.
The
yeah, they get all my info. They said, all right. They gave me like a flyer that said, hey, congratulations, you made top 8. Here are your instructions.
Yep.
And the feeling of making top 8 like temporarily subdued my panic and my stress over losing my eyeglasses. And I thought, damn, dude, the rep was talking to me and giving me all these instructions, and I was kind of zoning out because I was thinking, dude, I'm in top 8 Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at an official Evo tournament, not a side tournament, not a local. I mean, not to downplay all of the side tournaments that I've won and all of the like Fight Kingdoms that I've won, Combo Breaker, NEC, like these are majors, but it's not like this. So the feeling was sinking in, and then the guy said, "Oh, you get a +1 for top 8." Just it was like 2 p.m. or something. He's like, "All right, make sure that you're here at the entrance to the arena at 4. You get a +1." And I'm like,
meaning that.
So I hit up Chris. Chris, I hit you up. I wanted to ask you in person, and I said, Chris, it would mean a lot to me if you were there for me as my +1 to have my back up on the main stage. And to me, nobody else could have fit the bill for that. We talked about it earlier. Chris has seen me since I used to play at the Montebello Mall. Like, a lot of people know me from James Games, Regency, FFA, but nobody really knows me from Montebello. And Chris is the only guy, that I still talk to anyway, who knew me back when I used to suck ass at that arcade. And for him to be like my mentor, my inspiration, there was nobody else who could have fit the bill to be in that +1 spot. So we did the thing. We went back. I did want to talk about the top 8 experience because it was pretty nice, dude. Like me, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not used to like, hey man, come on in, have a seat, help yourself. We've got drinks over here. They had like a fully stocked like a Red Bull cooler. They had water bottles for us. They were asking us if we needed anything. They had monitors set up so that you could watch like the Twitch stream on live. They also had a gaming setup with the collection so that we could stay warm.
Oh, that's sick.
Like, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. We're not used to this.
And one thing I will say about that is, once I heard that Marvel obviously finals top 8 were going to be on Saturday, when I found out it was going to be in the arena too, and after experiencing it, I was like, okay, they didn't cut any corners with this just because it was a Saturday top 8 event, right? The same level of production and experience that the top 8 guys got for like Tekken and Street Fighter 6, that was the same experience that Marvel 2 got, which I was extremely happy for. So it was cool to see that and be a part of it.
Yeah, they gave us the same exact treatment, like you said. The same. Nothing was rushed. Nothing felt like, hey, let's get these guys out there. Let's knock this out. Everything was as formal as it could be. Being able to see it from behind the curtain and see just how much work goes into setting everything up and the technical aspect of it really made me appreciate it, because Evo is like at a national level now, international.
Yeah,
it's an international production, and you could see that they spare no expense. So that was really cool to witness.
Yeah, that's one thing that I definitely was taken aback by. I was like, wow, the production quality at this year's Evo, because again, I haven't been in a couple years, so it's like it was just next level production, and you could see it in like just even the crowd reactions and I think the engagement that we had with the audience, and I'm sure online as well. Everyone just was like really hyped to see top 8, even for obviously our game being really hyped, but even other ones. But I'd love to see that, and the engagement was great. So
it was kind of a surreal moment, being backstage, because we were all back there with like our +1s, but it was kind of weird because we're all opponents.
Yeah.
Even though everybody was like, we were all still chopping it up, like, hey man, you ready? I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. Everything is dark because I'm wearing my sunglasses, so everything is like, hold my hand, dude, I can't see. But I was thinking like, yeah, I'm cool with all these guys, but when it comes time to jump on the sticks, like I have to take everybody out. It really started to sink in just how important this tournament was for me. I feel like the most pressure was on me to win this tournament, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, being the favorite to win.
I had to.
That's a lot to deal with.
Like, even thinking about it now, dude, the fact that I lost my glasses, that I was dealing with all this, like all these external factors.
You could already hear what the people would say if something, right?
Man.
Like if it had gone the other way, people would be like, "Oh yeah, he's washed. Oh, he doesn't have it anymore." When it comes to the big stage,
dude.
all those little critics.
Not to mention that this is probably the only chance I was gonna get, or for Marvel to have Marvel 2 as a marquee main stage game. Yeah,
absolutely.
Who knows when the next time will be, right?
Yeah, we don't know, and that's exactly what I was gonna say, Ken. Is that it? You had a lot on the line. There was a lot of pressure on you. All the years of work that you put in, from not just starting out in 2006, but just all the tournaments, the money matches, the first twos, whatever it was. It came to a head here, at Evo. And if you didn't win, like you said, Ivan, it's going to be, well, he doesn't have it. He's washed up, and if you didn't win, as you mentioned, you may not have another opportunity on this stage to get another shot.
Right. So. The stakes couldn't have been higher. But I went up there. My first match was against Peru champ. He wins game 1. And he is loving it, dude. He was loving it. And I'm just thinking, God damn it, man. One more match. But then I pulled out the cheap stuff, right? The cheap stuff with MSS.
Yeah.
And the next 2 matches went by like this. And like I said, the video that's on YouTube is less than 5 minutes long, and that's 3 matches. That includes like character select, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So the actual gameplay, the set itself was a lot shorter than that.
A lot shorter, yeah. So I get past Peru champ, and I'm thinking, okay, on to winners finals. I got to get past winners finals, and then after that, I know that I'm comfortable knowing that I have at least 2 sets.
That's right.
So the bracket continues to play out, right? And then ServeBot makes it past, I believe, Clockwork, right? And I realize, okay, it's me and ServeBot in the winners finals. And I'm very comfortable because I've played ServeBot for so long that you just know. Like you just know the person and know what they're going to do. And he told me afterwards that he was considering like switching things up. But it's too late. You only get 2 matches. So I get past ServeBot and I'm thinking grand finals.
This is it.
And Chris, I told you, bro, when we were backstage, I said, dude, one more set. And shout outs to you, Chris, because you kept on checking in on me, asking me like, how are you feeling? Are you good? Like, do you need anything? Like, dude, there were so many emotions that were kind of going through my head during that time because the clock is ticking. Like, okay, everybody else is kind of fighting it out for the remaining spots, or they already have, and I'm just waiting, dude. I'm like waiting in the wings. Okay, yeah. Who's it going to be? And it's ServeBot versus Andy MSP, and Andy gets the win against ServeBot. And I was thinking, because Andy and I don't really get to play too often, right? Andy is MSP till he dies. And I know that with MSP, it's a roll of the dice sometimes. It could go really good or it could go really bad. So I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to pick? I have 6 games, right? Or no. I have, because it's 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 at that point.
So I have 6 games at least to work with. And I go with Matrix. And I already know that it's tough, but it's kind of like, okay, let me see. I feel like I have games to burn. Yeah. Let me see what this guy's working with. And the score was 2-2, right?
Right.
And the very last match, I pick MS Psych. Because I'm thinking, all right, if I don't win this one, then at least I'll have some Magneto practice. At least one match of Magneto to warm up. And then if the bracket resets, then I'm going MSS. And I'm just gonna maul him. I just have to avoid Sideblade, right?
Yep.
And long story short, like I beat him with MS Psych. Yep. Now, the last 30 seconds of that match, if you go back and you watch, you can't see it. Like there's only one shot, like one player shot of us, where you can kind of see how like my body language and everything. And it's starting to sink in. Like, okay, I'm almost done. Like everything that I've worked for has led up to this moment. I'm almost done. I'm gonna put him away, and then I'm gonna pop off. And you can see when I killed his storm.
Oh yeah,
you nodded.
Yeah. When I killed his storm, I smacked my hand and I said, "Get the fuck out of here." And I don't really remember doing that. Like looking back at it, like, holy shit,
I did that. Yeah.
And then once his Psylocke came in and she died, I clapped my hands again. I threw off the headset. Like I slammed the headset down. If you go back, like I slammed it down, and then it was like a dozen emotions all hitting me at once. I felt happiness. I felt almost slightly angry, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like finally, everything that I had been working towards,
get your roses,
is done. Like there is no higher accolade for me than an Evo tournament win. I thought about being back at the Montebello Mall, talking to like you, talking to the other guys, and you know we would hear about like Yipes, Justin Wong, Sanford, and I never thought that I would be able to get to that point. It felt like a goalpost that was just miles away.
Yeah.
And you can see it, like you can see it in my face that I popped off and I asked, whose time is it? I said, whose time? And I pointed to my watch and I said, whose time is it? Let me hear it.
Yeah.
Whose time is it? It's my fucking time, right?
Yep.
Once that was done, I turned around and I saw the big screen and it said champion, Khaos. And then that's when I felt like, damn, dude, I'm just a regular guy from Whittier, California, just like soaking it all in, and everybody's clapping and everybody's, you know, reaching out for fist bumps and taking pictures and recording, and you know, Video jumps on stage and he grabbed me and he said, you did that. Like everything that you worked for, like it's yours. This is your moment. This is it. And dude, it felt like an out-of-body experience. So what a lot of people don't know is that Andy and I didn't shake his hand right away because I was in the moment. But once I got backstage, you know, we shook hands. He said, you know, congratulations, well deserved. Like there's no bad blood, there's no animosity, nothing like that. It was just, I was hyped, man.
Yeah.
Like
well,
it's just one of those moments.
Yep.
Chris, I wanted to ask you, what did it look like from your perspective?
Dude, it was, you know, for me too, obviously I wasn't up on that stage. I was off on the side, but watching you, for me, it was a surreal moment as well. And the reason why I say that, it's for a couple of reasons. For me personally, first and foremost, it was kind of like a full circle moment. Like, as you mentioned, you're just this guy from Whittier, California, playing at, you know, started at the Montebello Mall. Me running into you, seeing you grow as a player, not just as a player, but as a person, a human being, and seeing kind of this capstone on your gaming career, you know, the thing that you've been chasing, the thing that's kind of always been out of reach, you know, not to anything that you've done. There's just not been a Marvel main stage event at Evo. So it's like, wow, okay, he's won all these tournaments, but he's never won Evo. But, you know, here it is. You're up there. You won it. For me, for full circle moment to see you up there. Surreal. And then the other thing, too, is just seeing how hype everyone was behind you, you know, watching that stage when they all, as you mentioned, rushed up. Video was there, you know, on stage. I got a couple of shots of him with you. That was a cool moment. But just every one that I saw in that arena, I can genuinely say that they looked happy for you, that it wasn't just, okay, here's our new Marvel champ. You know, it's no, Ken won it, well deserved. If anyone deserved to win this championship, it was you, and you did it, and everyone was ecstatic for that.
What a moment, dude. Even hearing you like talk about it, there is no real way to describe just what that main stage feels like until you're up there.
Yep.
Whether I get to experience it again or not, I'm eternally grateful for you, Ivan. You were there too. Like everybody who chose to be present and to be there with me afterwards, it's insane, dude, because that being with you at the Montebello Mall like 20 years ago, bro, I can remember it like it was just yesterday. Yeah. And then in the blink of an eye, here we are, dude, talking about it like in retrospect, you know. It really is insane. Once it was all said and done, they called us back up on stage for top 8 ceremony. So they lined us all up, and they did the whole thing. They gave us our medals. They gave top 3 prize sticks. So the Nacon Daijas, I got a gold plated one. Andy got a silver one. Surfbot got a bronze one. Sick.
Yeah, that's badass.
And then they gave me my my trophy. Now I had to make a speech, and I wasn't ready. Like I wasn't ready to I wasn't ready to put anything, you know, together. I had to kind of just think about it on the fly, more or less. And I didn't really know what else to say other than express like my appreciation for the people who still continue to play the game and support it and do whatever they can to bring eyes to the product. I specifically said, I don't know why I said basement, like whether you support it out of your basement. But I said basement. I said your local arcade, your channel on Twitch, which is what a lot of people do nowadays is they just, they stream. But any exposure is good exposure, and Evo gave us a lot of it. And that was a huge plus. I was very grateful for it. And a lot of people were asking why I didn't address a certain thing, which we'll get to, but it was great, man. It was great to wrap it up, to get the trophy, get the medal. As soon as we were done, somebody else was waiting for me on the side, and it was another Sony PR rep, and he said, "Hey, whenever you're ready, I'm going to take you over to the second floor, and we're going to do a quick press conference." And I'm like, dude, I'm still like,
Yeah.
room is spinning. Like, huh? What? And Chris, dude, thankfully you were there, bro. You're like, you know what? Let me take this. Chris kind of made sure that I was, composed, and then, dude, it's a lot of stuff to carry, man. I had the trophy.
It is the trophy. The trophy wasn't light. It was heavy. Obviously in the stick, and obviously you had all your stuff that you're carrying with you. So to just, as you mentioned, just basically be pulled aside and say, hey, after you're done here, take a moment. You're going to come with us upstairs, to do a post, tournament interview. It's like, okay. And I can see it. Like, I literally, as we're walking across the venue, I can see it in your eyes. You were there, but not there, because it was that surreal moment. I can see you just kind of processing, like, what just happened. Like, did that just happen? Like, am I awake right now? Like, I can, like, you were literally just going through the motions, and I can just see it in your face that you're still processing it all.
I still am, dude.
Yeah.
So we went up there. We did the press conference, which was amazing. Those guys were incredibly accommodating, and they really hooked it up. We took some photos. I got my prizes. It's very, I don't think I could get used to the genuine, like, niceness of people, complete strangers who I don't even know, who were saying, hey, it's you, congratulations, like, fist bump, hey, well deserved. And it's just something that I could never, like, I'm just a regular guy, dude. But it's cool to see that people were like, hey, I know you. Like, you're that guy. Yeah, like, you won Evo. Hey, you won Marvel 2 at Evo. And just hearing those words, it's like, I guess I did. It's still pretty amazing, like, to think about. Has it sunk in completely? I don't think it ever will, dude, to be honest. The come down, it's tough, dude. Saturday night, everybody was like, what do you want to do? You want to celebrate? You want to go? And I'm like, you know what, man? I don't want to do a damn thing but go back to my room and just reflect. And that's what I did. Jay Fresh, shout outs to Jay Fresh. He was there with me the whole weekend. And we just went back to the room, dude, and we just, like, decompressed. And Chris, like, you went back with me to the hotel to kind of drop everything off. And on the car ride there, I was telling you, like, bro, everything that we've been through, man, every trip to the mall, every token, every battle, like, every rivalry, all the ups and downs led up to this. Like, there is nothing higher than this, than an official Evo win. And there's only been 4 other champions.
Yeah. And as I told you, Ken, that during that car ride, I think it was during the car ride, next year when I'll be there at Evo anyways. I'm planning to, whether Marvel's in a tournament or not. I plan to be there. But for every other attendee that goes through that venue and they walk by that wall of champions, they'll see your name up there. Like, it's going to be there. So that's something to kind of keep in mind too. That no one can take this away from you, right? And
That's right.
As you mentioned, there's not been a whole lot of other Marvel Evo champions. You're up there with them now, and every person in the future going through those halls there will see your name up there. 2025 Marvel 2 champion.
Insane, dude.
Ken, you are cemented as a Titan.
Yep.
It's insane to see. Like, people were sending me links. Like, Sports Illustrated put out an article on there. Wikipedia, like, if you look up the Wikipedia, like, list of champions, like, my name is on there, dude. It's I've always felt like my legacy was already cemented with what I've done in the past, but this is just like a feather, like the ultimate feather in the cap, I wanted to kind of go over some community questions. I asked if anybody had questions for us from the community regarding Evo.
Yeah, of course.
Zari Lid T asked, what is the future now for Marvel 2 since they won't have another Evo for another 10 years? What's left? I think the only thing that we can do now is just continue to do what we've been doing without Marvel on the Evo stage, and that's host our locals, online tournaments, and just continue to support as we've been doing.
Yep.
The fact that we were able to pull almost 600 people at Evo at this stage of the game's lifespan, I feel like that's a pretty good accomplishment, considering what the venue fee was. The fact that we were able to pull so many people, and now they're able to see like the hype that we bring, and I said we continue to bring the moments and we continue to bring the noise. I think it can only get better from here if they were to decide to give us another chance, next year or whatever the case is. RKF asks, can we hear your honest opinion of the collection gameplay compared to DC? I will always prefer Dreamcast over the collection because I feel like you have to jump through less hoops, right, Chris? Would you agree?
I agree.
With the collection, you have to have the right PCB plus the right monitor plus, in some cases, like the right converter, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with DC, it's kind of like it's ready to go.
Just plug and play.
Yeah. Wicked Worlds asks, what were your expectations going into this tournament and what the final thought you had before you won, like right before it said game? There was a moment when I did the Mega Optic Blast on his Psylocke and then he alpha countered Storm. She took the last remaining hits of the Mega Optic Blast and then he rolled. And I quickly dashed behind him and then I launched. And I don't think he was expecting that quick side switch. I think if he would have blocked that might have bought him a few more minutes. That was tough.
Yep, it was.
That was tough. In that same match, he did a 5 fierce on my Magneto, and then on Wake Up, he did a hard knockdown, and then he dashed over, called out Psylocke. If I wouldn't have blocked that, I probably would have lost that match, and the bracket would have reset. But I blocked it. Cyclops anti-air hit his Magneto, and then I immediately DHC'd out. And that was it's just one of those like
pivotal moments of the match.
Yeah, exactly. So towards the end, once Storm died, I thought, oh my God, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. Psylocke's coming in. She's already dead. Like, it's done. Like the adrenaline was just building up.
Yeah.
So that's what I felt. Ruben Martinez asks, what did you feel was different in your approach towards this tourney in comparison to others like Combo Breaker, Fight Kingdom, and prior Evos? Not that different, to be honest. I think something happened during this past year where I started playing a bit more, or I should say less reckless. I would run into Psylocke plenty, anti-airs plenty. I feel like now my style is a bit more conservative. Like I still know when to attack, but now it's more... I was used to it always being my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. And now it's I can respect when it's the other person's turn to attack, and that comes from like playing Ultra Street Fighter 4 or like other turn-based fighting games.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, just really quickly on that point. That's one thing I've heard from many other players that play Marvel that have actually dabbled in some of the other fighters. They say that playing those games, which are primarily turn-based, actually benefit their gameplay in Marvel too, because it teaches you to be a little bit more patient, and sometimes you have to let them have obviously a turn so that they can make that mistake for you to capitalize on. So
yeah.
So next one is Stay Hardened. Yes, why didn't you use MSS against Andy MSP?
I think we touched on this earlier. I picked MS Psych because it was the last match of that particular set. And I just wanted to get some practice with Magan. And I think that if I would have picked MSS and had he won and reset the bracket, he would have been more confident going into that bracket reset.
Knowing that he's like probably beating your best team.
Right, yeah. Like I said,
That's something to consider, yeah.
I won't pick MSS unless I absolutely want to demolish the opponent. So I was saving it in my back pocket, and it turns out I didn't need to use it after all.
All right. So, No Channel 9276 asks, since you won Evo primarily with Team Matrix, would you consider it now your strongest team? Or is it just your go-to default team with MSS as your final boss team?
No, MSS will always be the final boss team. Matrix and MS Psych, I think, are currently... I think Matrix is more fun for me to play because it's Reset City. It's grab into Gene Splice. It's like you can kill a team very quickly with that team. MS Psych, though, dude, I'm really liking those unmashables with Cyclops in the corner. Yeah.
Sick.
There's a lot of reset potential. In terms of like what I'm working on now, I'm shifting my focus on grabs with Magneto. And the next step in my evolution is I want to be able to recognize when an opponent tech hits or techs the grab so that I can go for the guard break afterwards. I think that's going to be the next step in
the next layer.
in one touch kill Magneto.
Agreed.
So that's a little sneak peek, guys, into what you'll be seeing if you do see me compete again.
And then last question is going to be EVA Boxing. He asks, what made you switch teams against Andy MSP, and did you feel validated winning? And finally, how did it feel that Yipes commented?
We already talked about what made me switch teams. I just wanted to warm up with Mag in case the bracket did reset. Did I feel validated winning? Yes. Like I said, I needed to win this tournament to solidify. Like Legacy is already solidified, but this is like to eliminate all of the other that margin of people who still say, well, Khaos is good, but he never won the big one, which is an official evil. Like that baby has been put to bed already. It's done. How did it feel that Yipes commented? Yipes and Wong, I've rewatched the footage, and I feel like in the beginning maybe Yipes, people were saying that Yipes was a little bit more reserved, like when it was during my matches. I can't really tell, to be honest. I do respect the fact that he provided, I guess, it didn't seem like it was biased, at all. He showed that he was a true professional, and he actually gave me some compliments before and after, I guess, and during the matches. Mm-hmm. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for him for that, which is much appreciated. That's how I feel about it. In terms of what's next, guys, we have just so you guys know, we have a tournament in October for Arcade Shock. It's going to be called Monster Mashers because it's Halloween season, so make sure you guys grab your fucking costumes. We'll have more information on that, but that's something to look forward to. I think I'm going to work towards going back to streaming and creating content. I think that it might be time to kind of figure out how to get that back, going back again. I was feeling burnt out. I had to take care of some personal stuff. But this, it does make me happy,
Yep.
So I think that'll be it. People were asking why, when I made my speech, I didn't call out Yipes. Right? That's like the elephant in the room. At the time, I felt like the moment wasn't about just me. I could have made it about me. I could have, tapped into the wrestling promo. Hey, cut the music. And be like, you. But it was more important for me to just show appreciation to everybody. Everybody who, it was Saturday. People were in the arena watching Top 8. They could have been out there on the floor. They could have been getting games in, but they chose to come over and watch. The people that were watching on Twitch, like, they could have been doing anything else with their time, and instead they chose to tune in and watch us. So I felt like it was appropriate to show appreciation for the community as a whole.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about calling him out. I don't think that it was. It wouldn't have been appropriate. I think it would have kind of watered down the whole experience. that's really the only thing left. Could it happen down the line? Maybe. I mean, that's another conversation that we would have to have. But yeah, I mean, it's already set in stone what I've done with this game, and Evo is just kind of like
it's the capstone,
the frosting on top of the cake. I did want to give some shout outs, guys. Before we get into that, once again, I do appreciate that Yipes took the time to do the commentary and that he didn't show any bias. He was actually very respectful. Given that we've had, like our issues in the past and all that, it meant a lot for me to have him. Justin Wong as well. Justin took the time to send me a message and just give me my flowers. And he didn't have to do that. But it does show. As a matter of fact, anybody who reached out, it was much appreciated. Even people that I've never met or people that I haven't heard from in years. Uptown Whittier, they used to have a spot called Net Connection. It was an internet cafe, and one of the dudes that used to work there hit me up like out of nowhere, and he goes, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me. Like I used to work there." I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course I remember you." And he's like, "Hey, I saw that you won Evo. Like, good job." And I'm like,
"That's awesome, man.
Thanks, man. Like, I appreciate it." I did want to give some shout outs, guys, because now that it's all kind of said and done, first off, shout outs to my Omega Elite brothers, Thrilla, World, Magnetro. Thank you guys for being there, even though Math and Daryl couldn't be there in person. I don't know that they were sending me their vibes, so that's much appreciated. Magnetro was on site, and even he told me, he's like, I remember back when you were like at Regency, and you were trying to implement like all your combos and stuff. Like you've come a long way. And dude, I had people like come up to me and just say like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I listen to the podcast, or like I watch your YouTube channel. It's gotten me through some tough times." And I'm like, really? Like we just
shout outs to you guys, man. We do that
like,
for you, man.
Yeah, like we're talking about hitting buttons here. Like get mad. But it does kind of put things into a different light. We do this as a passion.
That's right.
And I can't even put it into words, bro. Like I'm truly appreciative of the people that support us, because we support you guys. Yep. We do this for you guys too. Magnus, shout outs to you, bro. Once again, you're the only one left, dude. The only OG that knew me from the very beginning, and you're one of the few that can truly say that you've seen me back when it all started. I couldn't have done this without you, bro.
Appreciate that.
Ivan, of course, shout outs to you, bro. My partner in crime over here. Shout outs to Ray, Spartan, one of my greatest rivals. Now he's one of my greatest friends.
Miss you, Ray.
Wes, J-Tron Duck, aka the West Coast Illuminati. Shout outs to my boys. J Fresh, dude. J Fresh was right there with me, man, in the trenches at Evo. And he was very supportive, had my back, dude. Shout outs to him, man. The James Games crew, whether or not we're in good terms or not, I can't deny that these guys played a part in where I'm at today. Guys like Dark Prince, Mike Chaos, Rubillionaire, David Achilles, Ace, Reset, Servbot, Orlando, which is funny because Orlando is to Servbot what you are to me in terms of mentorship.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, that was cool. And Servbot was like, wow, I didn't know that we could get a +1. And so I think I kind of feel bad because he could have had Orlando there with him
in his corner.
Yeah. Wow. But Orlando was still there to support, which is great. The Regency crew, Regency Rob, guys like Ivan, Dorian, Joey Ball, all the killers that used to play at Regency. We had rivalries, we had long sets, and it helped me, along the way. Family Fun Arcade, guys like Finesse, Sue Mighty, Neo, Strider Zero for capturing all of the footage throughout the years before we had direct feed.
What a legend, man.
It was the camcorder or bust. I mean, you guys remember how it used to be.
Yeah, look him up on YouTube, guys.
Yeah, shout outs to him. The guys who helped me by running long sets throughout the years, and I've always said that steel sharpens steel. Guys like Bill Wellman, Crizzle, Neo, Sanford Kelly, and Justin Wong. Like, these are guys who are always down to play. There's no ego. It's just, I'm down to play you. Let's run some games, and that's it. And they're killers. They're absolute killers. And then that goes without saying, right? My East Coast brothers, Josh 360. He's one of my closest friends from the East Coast.
Missed him at Evo.
Yeah.
Would love to see him there, man.
Yeah, G-Con. G-Con was really gracious in spending time with me during Evo, allowing me to run sets with him. We tried to recreate like the Evo setup, like using the same monitor and the PS5. So I kind of got a feel for it before tournament time. So that I'm grateful for that. Fuji for believing in me back when I was still, a young cat trying to make a name for himself. My brother Blue Jay, rest in peace. Josh Wigfall, who's given me a lot of words of encouragement over the years. Mike Infinite, Romnito, and of course my brother VDO, dude, who's always been there to give me words of encouragement, tough love at times, words that I may not want to hear, but that I need to hear. He's been there to kind of guide me in that sense. Much appreciated. Love that guy. Last but not least, guys, I wanted to talk about Mount Rushmore now that it's all said and done. Here's my Mount Rushmore, okay? If we take into account that there are two eras of Marvel, which is the prime, I guess you could call it the golden years, right? Back before Marvel 2 was removed from the main stage, it would be from 2000 to 2010. I would put Wong, Sanford, Yipes, and Duck in that category. I feel like everybody would universally agree with that, right?
Yes.
If you separate the second era, which is 2010 up until the present, I feel like I'm in the forefront. Let's be real. I feel like I'm in
Absolutely. Non like bias aside. That's true.
It's me.
Yep.
It's me there.
Yep.
Second spot will go to Duck because he did more. He did just as much damage, if not more, during this era than he did in the beginning. And then you have Pasadena, a well-deserved spot on this era's Mount Rushmore. And then the fourth spot for me is kind of like, there are multiple people that can kind of fit the bill for that. I don't really have a definitive answer. I mean, it could be Thrilla, it could be Servbot, it could be, I don't know, who else would you say would be on there?
That's a good question. I know Crizzle's put in a lot of work,
Crizzle
over the
too,
years.
yeah.
It's tough. There's a lot of names out there I think that you can put in there, and any one of those can fit that bill.
Yeah. What about you, Ivan? What do you think?
I think now I'm just like running through the I don't know why Lockdown is coming to mind. A shout out to my boy Andrew, but he's done a lot of things too, even with that team. It's gotten a lot of notable wins as well. But yeah, even people from the West Coast, like I said, Crizzle has definitely come up as well.
What about Roundhouse?
Roundhouse. I don't know, because it's like, we didn't even get to talk about his Evo placement and then being eliminated by Combo Fiend, I believe. I mean, it's
another one of those upsets.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Right.
Yeah. So
I guess context matters, right? Because are we talking about just like tournament winnings, money match winnings, or overall contributions to the community? Because Roundhouse, he's done a lot.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
Yeah.
But I would also put him on there too because of Texas Showdown, and he has placed relatively high. Fight Kingdom this year, he got third place.
Yep.
Like he can hang with the best of them.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. But I mean, you're never really going to get to a definitive like Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I did want to take the time to thank you guys once again, to everybody who's listening. Everybody who I mentioned before, even if I didn't mention your name, if you've ever done anything to support the game, to try, whether it's traveling, whether it's being interactive on Twitch, Discord, whatever the case is, it doesn't go unnoticed, and whatever you do to contribute is much appreciated. Do you guys have anything else to add?
Yeah, man. Magnus, it was an honor having you here on the podcast, bro. Like all the stuff that you've contributed.
Oh, yeah.
And just the level of growth that we've seen, even like within Ken, and it's a lot of it attributed to you. So can't thank you enough for being here and taking the time for you to help us enhance our podcast and being a great guest for us, man. I would love to keep running games with you, bro. So
hell
hopefully we
yeah,
can do that.
dude.
Thank you.
I would love to see a Magnus resurgence. A guy can dream, right? Anyway, guys, I'll leave you guys with this, okay? Mount Rushmore, if you want to really condense it down to just one list, I don't think... Yeah, like I can't erase what people have done in the past, right? Like the legacy that's been placed there before is already set in stone.
Correct.
I've always said that like Wong, Sanford, Yipes, and Duck are like the universal top 4 of the greatest, right?
Yep.
I feel like I'm just the DLC.
Yeah.
All these years later.
Yep.
That's it. So I'm not, I'm never going to say that I'm the greatest, but I do believe that I am one of the greatest.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
we'll leave it at that.
Yep. And no one can take that away from you,
Yeah.
man.
Anyway, Ivan, thanks, brother. Thanks for being here. Chris, appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you here. You guys will have more information about that upcoming tournament. Thank you guys once again for listening and being a part of this journey. For me, it's been a very long time that I've been playing this game, and we'll see what's next. All right. So until then, we'll catch you guys later and stay mashing. Okay.
Thanks, guys.